remember back in the day, oh, that's better, when we could actually play real music on YouTube. Do you remember that? There was a time. There was a time when you could play whatever you wanted on YouTube and it would all be fine. Hey, Mountain Goat, how's it going, my bro? And you play whatever music you wanted, and you'd get like was it a copyright strike? As we called, not a guideline strike, not like one of those ones where they take your channel away, but they'd be like, oh, you can't keep any ad revenue. Not that they ever let me keep any ad revenue. But you better play stuff. Now, dude, if I play music on this, the stream gets cut somehow. I don't know how they do it. Or they like mute the stream or something. Let me just... Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys. Zepmade said that they're having problems with the donate button. Hey, Tony. And I get people tell me this a lot. They go, dude, the button doesn't work. It should work. Okay, so hang on. Let me show you what should happen. If it's not happening, doesn't work properly, I need you to help me. Okay? So, stop, present, share screen. Okay, here we go. Where do we go? This one. Okay, so this is the stream. So you press this button, right? You go to this page. Doesn't seem to be going there. Right, one sec. Stop that. Right. So that should then take you through to this one. Right, and then you put a username in and an amount, and then the button should... You see the button's grayed out at the moment, but you put the amount and username in, you should then be able to donate through that, right? Turn that off now. 90% of the time people tell me, oh, that doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, it doesn't work, which I believe is one of the ways that they shut me down. They stop the links. Hey, Al says, sending you this far-right donation in honor of this rare live stream. Thanks, Peachy. Al sent us $6.40. See, some people can't figure it out, which I appreciate. Appreciate you, Al. But this is one of the ways I think they try and stop me doing live streams, is they just sort of secretly cancel off all the ways that people can support me, by just having them not work. So if you're trying to do it and it doesn't work, just please let me know and say, look, it doesn't work, That would really help me. Thank you very much. Okay, you'll be getting flack on the Tommy Robinson topic, Alistair. I've noticed. When Jesus heals the paralyzed guy and he says, your sins are forgiven, and all the Pharisees are like, oh. And Jesus is like, listen, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, only God has the power to forgive sins. He said your sins are forgiven. He's claiming to be God. He's saying that he's God. And Jesus is like, listen, is it easier for me to say your sins are forgiven or get up and walk? He says, I'm taking the hard road. I know it's the hard road, and I'm taking the hard road in order that you know that the Son of Man has the power on earth to forgive sins. Now, get up, pick up your pallet and walk. Right? Do you know how much easier it would be for me to jump on the bandwagon of, let's all get behind Tommy Robinson, let's get there on the 25th of July, we're going to do it, we're going to cut you back. Like, you know what I mean? How easy that would be? Be a lot easier than saying, guys, I feel like you're being led astray here. I feel you're being led astray here. Every time this protest is led in this way, all you end up with is a load of far-right smears, a load of clips of people chanting football songs, and that's all it is. I just don't believe that it's genuine leadership of a real movement. And people are, well, at least we're going, at least we're doing something. And this is where it's sort of disingenuous flack. It's like, well, at least we're going there. When did I say in the whole video, I've only ever questioned the leadership of these movements. I've only ever questioned the way the movements are being led. I never said people shouldn't go. I never said people shouldn't want their countries back. I was very careful in the video to say, the native populations of these countries are being replaced. Massive uncontrolled immigration is destroying the country. These things are all true. I'm not saying people should be upset about it. I'm not saying they shouldn't want to do something about it. I'm not saying they shouldn't want to go to protests. But what I'm saying is, if the leaders of these protests are leading you off a cliff, okay, it's worth saying something. And it's worth pointing out, look, you're being given these really good causes and things that are worth saying. You're being given these leaders. And you're being given these leaders. And I'll give you an example. How do you know who Tommy Robinson is? How do you know who Tommy Robinson is? Just think. How do you know who Tommy Robinson is? I'll tell you the answer. The mainstream media told you who he is. That's how. The mainstream media told you who he is. And I know they told you who he is under the guise of, he's the hero, he's been cancelled, the government are trying to get him, he's been wrongly arrested, blah, 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 blah. He's been detained, he's been imprisoned, all this stuff. The enemy we're up against isn't beneath making anything up, okay? If you stopped 100 people in the street and said, would you follow a political movement headed up by Tommy Robinson, how many people do you think would say yes? 3? 5? 10? He's been so smeared and tarred in the mainstream media. They've built him up as this figure that most of the general public don't want anything to do with. And now they put him in charge of the movement against massive uncontrolled immigration. Don't you see what that's going to do? Don't you see what it's going to do? 95% of people will run a mile when they hear the word Tommy Robinson. So if this issue is so important and it means so much and it's so the key issue, surely the guy would be like, well, I'll step away then because, you're never going to get anywhere with my name on things. Nope. Front and centre. It's not the great British people's protest against massive control of immigration. It's the Tommy Robinson protest. All over the internet, it's the Tommy Robinson protest. The Tommy Robinson-led protest. The mainstream media will put that on everything. The Tommy Robinson-led protest, and they'll get the name Tommy Robinson in there. They've smeared the name Tommy Robinson. They've attached all this crap to it. And now they get him to be the poster boy for stuff that they know is important. Let me ask you a question. Right? So, Tommy Robinson is this guy, right, that the state can't stand. They can't stand him, and they've tried to bury him, and they've tried to put him in prison, and they've done all this stuff, and they hate him, and they're desperately trying to stop him, right? How does he get a stage in the centre of London with his name on it and giant big speakers and a microphone and all this media coverage? How do you think that happens? Do you ever ask that question? Do you ever be like, hang on a minute, if the government hate this guy, the establishment hates this guy, how is he in the centre of London with a giant speaker system? And you think that they couldn't stop him doing that? They just could. They wanted to shut him down, but they couldn't. And they just ended up giving him a platform in the centre of London. Does anyone question that? If you were the people that were controlling us, that were, causing this to happen, what's the one thing that you think they would really fear? The one thing they would really fear is everyone getting together, right? Everyone coming together and being like, right, it's this small group of people doing it. We need to get rid of them, etc., etc., etc. Well, when they have a name like Tommy Robinson attached to a protest, they know that 90% of people are not going to want anything to do with the movement because it's Tommy Robinson. They have these polarizing figures, and Tommy Robinson is one of them. And some people say in the comments like, oh, they're chanting about Jesus Christ, and that's the point of the protest. You honestly mean to tell me you think that Tommy Robinson is going to lead a... If I go up to all the people in my church and say, oh, there's a new Christian revival movement, and I really want you to come to it. Come, and we're going to go and tell people about Jesus, the gospel. Oh, really? Where is it? What's it about? It's the Tommy Robinson rally in Trafalgar Square. You think they're going to come? Oh, great. Tommy Robinson? Yeah, okay. I'll get my Bible. I'll see you down there. Do you remember my last video on him and the staged arrest of Tommy Robinson? Go back and watch that one. Hey guys, great news. We're going to go and tell people about Jesus, an organised movement. Come on, hey everyone in church, a whole congregation, who wants to come with me? Who's running it? Tommy Robinson. Okay. I think the whole congregation will come with it. The pastor's like, yeah, sounds great. Everyone, let's all go to the Tommy Robinson rally. Which is it? Is he being silenced by the state, counselled by the state? Or has he got a giant speaker system and a platform in the centre of London with all his media attention? And once again, I think the whole thrust of the protest and everything is bang on. I think they are destroying this country by, importing the third world, essentially, importing a lot of people that don't like the country and hate it, just want to freeload off it. They're collapsing this country because it's a way, if you can turn the first world into the third world, the whole world will be the third world, and that's what they want. Yeah, I know it's happening everywhere. I know it's happening everywhere. Also, if Lawrence Fox, I'm absolutely convinced on. Lawrence Fox, I'm absolutely convinced is, being allowed to lead the opposition because he's a polarizing figure, and you know, I don't believe either of those two are legitimate leaders of opposition. You know? I'll give you another scenario. So let's say you're the establishment, you're the deep state, whatever you want to call it, right? Your worst nightmare is everyone getting together, unifying, getting together and coming after you. Because there's only a couple of thousand of you and there's billions of us, right? So, do you think that they don't have any playbook for that happening? Do you think they're just watching protests, giant protests with speakers in the middle of London and loads of people coming out and waving flags and we're going to take our country back, yeah. You don't think they have any playbook for that? You just think they're just sitting there watching it all happen going, oh no, this looks bad. Should we do something? What should we do? I've no idea. You don't think they've got any playbook? Of course they do. Of course they've got a playbook. Of course they've got moves for what should we do when movements start to build up against us. Do you know what's in the playbook? I'll tell you what's in the playbook. I'll tell you what's in the playbook. It is infiltrate these movements, control these movements, get these movements fighting against one another. And when people say, oh, Alistair, you're just getting people to fight with one another. You're just picking on people within the movement. No. Saying, I think these guys are leading the movement off a cliff is not being part of the woke right or all these. You notice the people who are establishment controlled, in my opinion, they have all these phrases and to sort of point at people that say, hang on a minute, this guy's leading the movement off a cliff. It's like, oh, you're just as bad as the left. You're the woke right now. They're not going to give you any legitimate leaders that can damage them. And Lawrence Fox was given to you on the BBC Question Time, and Tommy Robinson's been given you. Over a number of years, the amount of media attention this guy has had. If you know their name, they're in the game. If they wanted to get rid of this guy, they would simply have never have talked about him and just buried him. Maybe killed him or imprisoned him, or you know. They know what they're doing. They know how to publicly victimize someone over a period of years so that people turn around and go, oh, he's one of us. He's the leader. He's been through it all. They've been after him for ages. And the amount of hostility you get when you turn around and you say, look, you're being given these leaders for this movement and they're deliberately driving the movement off a cliff. You know, the amount of hostility you get if you dare to call that out. And they start taking what your position was and changing it and then arguing with you, you know. But it's like, oh, you're being classist, you're being a snob. It's like, I'm not saying that the people on the march are like, hey, fuck each other. I'm saying the people leading it are trying to drive you in that direction. They're up there starting football chants. We want our country back. We want our country back. You realise that 90% of the nation is going to see that. Tommy Robinson going, we want our country back. We want our country back. And be absolutely reviled. They're going to run a million miles away from that because he's a polarising figure. And that's why they've got him up there. Don't you see? They've given your movement the worst possible candidate that's never going to bridge any sort of a gap, never going to unify people. Never. If you just had people getting together and just calmly sort of saying, look, we're decent, law-abiding citizens of this country, all right? And we've had enough of this because of these reasons. You're deliberately destroying the country on purpose. We want to know who's doing it, you know? Our cities have changed. This has changed. You know what I mean? So many people would... Then all of a sudden, the majority of the country would be like, yeah, okay, actually, no, I agree with that. I'm on board. Instead, you send them a clip of, sorry, I'm so worried, country, mate. And it's like, they're like, oh, no. No, thanks. No, I don't want to be on... I don't want to be on that. I'm not on that. You know what I mean? They have clips of just people with a St. George's cross tattooed on their forehead, shaved heads, fucking Muslims, fucking Muslims. And then people are just like, oh, no, thanks. No, thanks. You know? Dude, I don't mind football chants. You know me, I go to football. I like football chants. I'm not saying, please, come on. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with a football chant. But when you're leading a protest and you're trying to get people to chant out, we want our country back, you know, with a Stone Island top on, and you're probably the number one name synonymous with, like, forget it. If he's legitimate, Tracy, yeah. I haven't seen it. What documentary is that? What's the answer on how you think he got a giant platform with Tommy Robinson written on it in the centre of London, and they allowed this protest to go ahead? Why would they allow that? Do you ever ask why? I remember I was at the vaccine injury protest, and they had the guy on stage. They had these giant speakers right outside the BBC, huge giant speakers, loads, and I'm like, and they're the BBC, fucking assholes, and they're blah 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 blah, right? And again, I agree with everything the guy's saying. The BBC, this and that, and then they got the guy up there. I'm vaccine injured, and these fucking bastards can fuck off, and get all this loud swearing, you know. And I thought, and everyone's cheering. So I thought, let me just come out to protest. And I started asking the people walking by, who were just normal people, like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, oh my God, it's appalling. These people are crazy. They're all swearing, and they got pictures of dead children, and, you know. And I realised, this is actually doing our cause more damage than good, this protest. And these protests organised by Tommy Robinson and Lawrence Fox, they always seem to have the same result, which is polarisation. Majority of people going, oh, that looks horrible. What the hell's that about? They'll have clips of kids being like, chanting about Allah and big banners against Muslims. You know what I mean? And I think it just... But they can stop protests. They did it all the time during lockdown. They stopped them all the time. I think they made it illegal, didn't they? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But, you know, my point still stands. When you have a name like Tommy Robinson attached to the protest, and when you drive it towards football chants and get out of our country, we want it back, you're going to alienate the majority of the country to the cause, whether you agree with that or not. It's not a bad move, Peter. Dude, I don't trust Farage at all either. And I've met the guy. You know? I think the same thing. I think the same thing about him. I don't trust any of these names. Any of these big names we're given that everyone knows, they're not gonna be any good, bro. They're not. I did. I used to support Nigel, yeah. I mean, back in the day, I was laughing about this today. I used to actually believe that, you know, there was a good side and a bad side, and that you could vote for the right party and things would change. I thought, oh, if the Brexit party just get in, the world would be saved. Man, we can't vote for Christ, Alistair. Sure you can. Sure you can. Sure you can. You start living that way. But ultimately, Christ is the only one that can turn us around. He's the only one that can save us. You know? That's the... You fool of a toque. I love that. You fool of a toque. Yeah, this is a good comment. Good comment. Just read my Bible, listen to worship music, do my work, look after my animals, and get on with my life until God has me when He wants me. That's it, bro. That's it. I get it as well, you know. People saying, look, people are frustrated and they want to do something, you know. They want to go to these protests. It helps them. But, you know, I never said no one should go to the protests or you're idiots for going or, you know, any of that. It's just I question the way these things are being led. I question the leaders that they're giving you as the face of this movement. If you want any political movement to fail, any movement to fail, okay, make Tommy Robinson the face of it. And 90% of people just be like, I don't want anything to do with that guy. And that's a fact. That is a fact. Even though everyone should be on side with, you know, these people, they're ruining our country, they're taking our country away, you know, everyone should be on the side with that. But if they can keep Tommy Robinson as the face of it, 90% of people will stay away. It's disgusting to see a comedian get a crowd laugh about wishing people would drown at sea. Who's that? Andrew Lawrence? Oh, I didn't see that. We shall see. We shall see. It's his latest live. It was quite good until then. I switched off. Oh, sorry, bro. I don't know anything about that. Okay, I'll watch Lawfare. Yeah, sure. Can't help it, man. There seems to be just something a bit staged to the whole Tommy Robinson thing. Anyone with that much media coverage, positive or negative, let's see. I had to abandon church as the vicar went on about the far right and Tommy. It was dire. If voting made any difference, it would be outlawed. Well, did you see Bob's cartoon? It was a good one. Day and night, night and day, let incense arise. Day and night. Hey, we've got another donation for Triple P. Bosh, second donation incoming. Ah, the best option for the elite is the opposition that they control. Those opposing figures the elite cannot control, they either kill or slander or falsely convict. UK column guys today mentioned Sam Mellier. So that's the guy that's in prison. Right? Laura Towler's husband, right? Thanks for the support, Triple P. I appreciate it. I'm especially wary of these censored people that are everywhere. That everyone knows who they are. Jesus never went on and on about the Romans. Yeah, true. True. He went on and on about the Pharisees, though, to be fair. Jesus did go on about the people that he felt were leading people astray. Yeah, I heard this. Oh. Folks, I'm getting the text from the wife that my daughter has woken up, so I think we have to call it a day here. But thanks for tuning in. It's a nice little chat. This was fun to talk. So I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I appreciate everyone for supporting the live stream on PayPal, Subscribestar. You know, you the people, you know who you are. I really appreciate all of you, and sorry for the abrupt end. But when I get the text through, that means good night. So good night, one and all. Mwah. I appreciate you guys, and yeah, thanks for sticking with the channel. See you soon, guys.